Jake Otero.
Hello.
What's up, dude? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Thank you for having me. I've been super stoked to be on this.
Thank you for coming and doing this, man. You
course.
are like, so I've been watching local comedy for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Coming up on 2 years, I've been like going out intentionally to go see shows. And out of all the comics that I've seen, like from the point of me starting watching it, I've seen regularly at like shows, like not open mics, just like actual shows, and watching comics grow, and like the growth it's like palpable, it's tangible.
Yeah.
You're one of the top, dude.
Thank you, man.
You've really grown in your comedy over the last like 18 months. I've watched it happen.
Thanks. Yeah, that means a lot, man. Especially just because you can get kind of lost with like when you're working really hard and you just kind of forget that. And so for people to see that really does mean a lot.
No, it's good, man. Because like I think one of the first times that I saw you do comedy was 2022 for sure. And I want to say it was like one of the later roasts they did that year, and you did an opening set.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And you were good.
Yeah.
You could tell the nervousness. You could tell the anxiety, but you were good. And then now it's like watching you. I've seen you do both of the don't. Because you were at the don't tell underneath the barbershop, right?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
So like seeing you do that, and then seeing you do the don't tell over at Sobre, like, dude,
that one was
you kind of
nuts.
just get up there and you get in the groove.
Yeah. One thing that has come a lot lately, and I'm still very new, I still make a lot of mistakes, but something that I've been trying to keep in my head is if you're up there having fun, people gravitate to that and they end up having fun. And you could get lost with trying to improve and get mad over, oh, I'm not getting this and this person is getting that. And you just kind of forget that the main reason why you're doing this is just to have fun and hopefully that irradiates into the crowd.
Well, that's the biggest piece of advice, and as I'm in the infancy of trying stand-up.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a comedian. I'm trying stand-up, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm trying it, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
One of the biggest pieces of advice that I've gotten from both Steph, Buck, and even Zach has talked to me about this too, where it's like, if you get up there and you're nervous and you're not too sure of yourself, while it may be normal, especially if it's a show, the audience can tell.
Oh,
and it's like they smell blood in the water. Like, oh, this guy's just up there because what? All right, what? Let's see what you got, buddy. Rather than you get up there with confidence, like, okay, it doesn't even register. That's the thing. It's not an active thing. It's like, okay, another comedian, awesome. Exactly. They are supposed to be here.
Definitely.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yes, and you kind of get that with like in all aspects. Like I remember, seeing Attell at the Cellar. Like, he gets up, and even if you didn't know who he was, you're like, oh, this dude knows exactly what he's doing.
He's supposed to be here.
Yeah, he is supposed to be here. There's not a care in the world in his head, and he's just up there having a blast.
You're a big Attell fan, huh?
A huge Attell fan.
You can tell in the way you do your comedy.
Thank you, yeah.
You can tell you're inspired. No, it's a good thing. No. You're not stealing from the guy, but the way you go up there, your monster, the way you carry yourself, it's very like... not unassuming, but it's like you know what you're about to do. Yeah. And it's like you're waiting for the audience to react. It's like, I know I'm here. Now you're here to, enjoy what I have for you.
Definitely, man. I think like something that I've been doing a lot lately is where it's been helping with that is I've been doing a lot of the late shows at Dry Heat. And those can be, they're different because either everybody's like kind of like drunk or they're kind of waiting to get drunk. So they're like, you really never know what's going to happen with those late crowds. So like lately I've just been like, oh, I'm just going to, I'm going to have fun. I'm here doing stand up, my favorite thing in the world. And that has been helping me a lot because there's that level of not knowing what it's going to be like. And then also like, let's kind of go outside of what I'm doing. Because when I started, I was very scripted. And just recently, I've been trying to go outside of that and be more adventurous. Because I get like so many opportunities to get on stage. I figure I should be as experimental as possible. Experimental. Yeah, I said that right. But just try to like get outside of my comfort zone because I feel like just sticking to the script and doing your jokes how they have been done, one will get boring, and two, like, I mean, if you know you're going to get laughs, what are you learning from that? So what I've been doing lately is I have jokes that I've been telling for years, And what I'll do is I'll put a space between them. Like I'll write out the first sentence, put a space, write out the next sentence. And those spaces are where I put a new tag or a new angle or whatever. And that's been really fun because there for a minute I was like, oh, I'm so bored of telling these jokes. I just want to get them out there and burn the material. But now I'm like, oh, let's add something to this.
I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially sponsored by the fine people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, this is some of the best chili you can get here in the state of New Mexico, and they are online as well as in stores. They can be found at Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today. Podcast is now officially sponsored by the amazing people over at High Desert Relief, a premier herbal destination right here in the state of New Mexico. They have extremely well-trained and knowledgeable staff that are more than happy to help you find what you're looking for or try something that you maybe have never thought of. They have 2 locations here in Albuquerque, 1 in Santa Fe. All 3 will be listed right here and in the description of this episode. All 3 offering legendary products at absolutely legendary prices, including this awesome merch that they were so kind enough to gift me here. All of this can be found at all 3 of their locations. Again, big thank you to the guys over at HDR for supporting. Now back to the episode.
Well, you
don't want to get bored of your stuff, but at the same time, like if you're in a new room or because I'm finding this I finally have like some jokes that work and I'm holding on to these things.
Yep.
Like they are gold. I'm like, oh,
definitely.
You make me look good.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose you. And
right?
so it's good to add to them, but at the same time, it's good to check them.
For sure.
Make sure they still work.
Definitely. Yes. That's also something too, and it's just weird because I've had jokes that have worked like perfectly and then they just stop working. That I don't know how to explain. It just happens. Like I had one joke where it was about abortions and the Supreme Court did that whole thing that they did.
I was going to say recently there's been a cultural shift around the old smishmortion.
Right? After that happened, that joke did not work. And I was like, well, we had fun, but that's not going to the act until we do something about this.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like obviously there could be cultural things that'll shift the way people feel about subject matter.
Yeah.
And maybe this is naivety, but that just, in my opinion, that just means if you're doing, let's say you've got a 30-minute set you're doing.
Yeah.
That just means that, because let's say that joke shows up typically in your set list. That shows up in the first 15 minutes. Maybe that pushes back to the back half of the half hour so that you earn the audience's trust a little more. They like you.
Exactly.
You've sold yourself so that you can get away with a few things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like what Anthony Justin, that kind of just starts kicking people's teeth in the first 5 minutes, but he saves his really evil stuff for the back end of his set because especially like in his earlier stuff, he has to earn the audience a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
So maybe that's how maybe that changes your set list. Do you ever, because obviously you're one of the more vertically challenged comedians around.
That's a great way of putting it, by the
way. So you have a lot of short jokes and they're good, right?
Yes.
Do you ever worry about doing those jokes and then they sound a little too similar to a Brad Williams or maybe a Dave Attell, or are you ever studying the more famous comedians that are short so that you're like, okay, there's a lot of common thought, but I want mine to be original?
I actually never do. That did happen to me once. Brad Williams had this bit about the urinal, and I had another urinal joke that was pretty similar. Obviously, Brad is a way better comic than me. My joke was just trash, so I was just like, I just won't use it. But I try not to listen to other short material done by big comics. By more famous comedians. It's so funny. My legs are dangling right now. I was like, I'm not gonna call that out, but I guess since we're on this subject, let's bring it up. But like, to be honest, like I try not to look at that because I don't want to get like that parallel thinking and like kind of I'll just be overthinking it because I am that type of comic where I'm just like, oh, I want original stuff, which is kind of a short jokes aren't original, but
sure they are. No. Well, what makes it original is that you're doing it.
Exactly.
It's your perspective. I mean, at this point in 2024, especially with the boom of comedy since the pandemic, the boom of people trying stand-up comedy since the pandemic, nothing is original.
Exactly.
There's no subject that's original, and that's not going to change. But what is original is your perspective. It's your outlook on it that makes it unique.
100%. And see, that's kind of the way that like I need those short jokes because like writing jokes recently, I've been trying to not write short jokes because I feel like I have enough. And I mean, I add to them and everything. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at the future. Obviously, this is 10 years later, but I want a special eventually. So what I want to do now is like the special has to be my point of view. So I'm short. That's my point of view. So that has to be in there. So I'm kind of just laying the foundation for that special to come. So I kind of got off of what I was thinking I was trying to say. But like honestly, like just my perspective of the shortness, I do need that. It's all going to tie into the special at some point. So me, like, I am trying to get away from that just so I myself could be a better comic and write other stuff because short jokes to me come very easily. But, it's all like being short is my perspective. That's going to be in the special. Maybe not these specific jokes, but my whole special is going to be my perspective. So I just kind of want to gather everything because like you said, all these subjects have been done in terms of stand-up. So your unique outlook on everything is what is going to set you apart from everything. So I've kind of just been trying to go through with that.
Well, and you're a very self-aware comic in your sets, whether it's you're doing something like a don't tell or you just did an open mic, right? And it's a good technique, and it's a tried and true one, and you use it very well where you open up with self-deprecation to ease your way into the audience. And I think that's something that I definitely have a challenge of doing is making myself a part of the audience, right? And I think a lot of comics have an issue doing that in general.
Definitely.
And finding a way to do that where you and the audience are at the even playing field and becomes more conversational than it does presentation, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Being able to do that is a really good skill, and that's something you have down. I mean, your thing about the kid that turns into a monkey from Jumanji, that's like good.
Yeah.
That's like that. It fits so well.
That one is good. I came up with this thing last weekend. I went up there and I was like, I was wearing my Misfits shirt and I was like, I know I look like a guy who's going to sell you lizards in the alley behind here, but we're going to have a good night tonight. And that one was good. I love doing those like quick things where you're just kind of calling out the elephant in the room and just getting on with it. And also too, the jokes that I start out with are very calculated because I need to know what they like because I do have a lot of blue material. And so there's a few jokes that I choose to start out with because I know how the rest of my set will go. But it's a double-edged sword because I go out with the blue material right off the bat and the rest of my set tanks if they're not with it. And that has happened a few times. Yeah. But I do like lately I have been trying to just, me and the audience, we're all one. Let's all have a good time. Yeah. And that's what I hope to carry on because I see that with a lot of the comics that I really love. I see that they just seem to click in with everybody. And it's just, I can't explain it, but, and I'm sure we're going to bring it back to Otero so much during this podcast because I love him. But just seeing him the way he does it, he immediately clicks in. And it's just, it's something that it's a skill that I want to have and be able to take everywhere.
Well, that's why, like at its height, that's why like the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was so big. Is because these guys are multimillionaires and they're very great stand-up comedians, but their whole thing is that they're the common man and they make it work very well.
Definitely, and I think that's where a lot of comedians that get very rich and famous is they can lose that relatability, and it invites a lot of hate towards them. I won't say anybody in particular, but there are a few comics who end up getting a shit ton of money and they just lose that.
Andrew Schultz, Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura. I mean, it's happening.
Exactly.
It's happening.
Yeah. And see, that's why Attell is the greatest. He doesn't like. I'm sure he has a really good amount of money. He lives in New York, in Manhattan, so he has to be having a lot of money. But he is about the jokes. He's not talking about, oh, I was on this private jet, I bought this Rolex. Like, bro, nobody gives a shit about that. Like, I don't care. Like, I love cars. I don't want to hear stand up about Porsches. I don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
it just make me laugh. And I think people lose that when they start getting bigger. Shane Gillis is one who's like, I'm sure he has a shit ton of money, but people love him. He's fucking hilarious.
Well, because he's funny.
Yeah.
Because he gets up there and he was doing a podcast with, it was him, Matt. It was on Rogan. It's him and Matt on Rogan. And,
Yeah.
And they went on something about like the subject of gay people came up.
Yeah.
And Rogan goes, yeah, it's just I don't get it. There's just this stigma that gets attached to gay people and people just find them weird and I don't get why. And Gillis just goes, yeah, it's dude's butt fucking. It's just funny.
Yeah.
He's just a funny guy.
It's just so random.
But also when it comes to hate on bigger comics when they get famous, I think it's a lot of punching up from people that are jealous.
that is
I'm going to be
big part of
completely
it.
honest. Like,
Yeah.
of course your image is going to change when you get more money. No shit, because you're taking care of yourself better.
Yeah.
You have access to better things in life. That's a fact of life.
That is true.
And that's just, and some people are going to hate that.
Yeah.
And the moment, because again, it's okay, let's bring it local, right? Are you born and raised in New Mexico?
Yeah.
In Albuquerque? Okay. So you know this about as much as anybody else. For whatever reason, there is from people that like to try to punch up or people that try to talk badly of others. There's this mindset where it's like you can become successful, and you can become successful, you can do well, but I'll root for you, but you can't do better than me.
Yes.
It's that type of thing, and that's not
Yes.
even. And at that point, it's not even like that these people can't relate anymore. It's just they've reached a level of status that I don't think I can ever make, and therefore I'm going to hate them for it, which is stupid.
Yeah, that is definitely a huge part of it because the thing about it is they're still selling out arenas
I was going
and
to say,
theaters.
like with Andrew Schultz, people
Yeah.
are shitting on him online in his comment sections and all this stuff for being. Personally, I don't think he acts like he's better than anybody else. I still like his podcast. I don't get the hate. He's become extremely successful the last year.
Yeah,
but
he has.
also infamous for my money because that came out in 2022, right?
Yes.
Infamous. I think that was the best special to come out that year,
That one was good.
and
yeah.
I think it is one of the best written specials of all time.
Yeah, he had
It's
some
amazing.
Yeah, I remember like right before I started stand up, I had found because I had always been a fan of stand up, and I was going through a period where I was very depressed, and I just had rediscovered it. And one of those people was Schultz's just crowd work videos, he is one of the pioneers of doing that.
Yeah.
Like just on YouTube, him at like at the Cellar and like New York Comedy Club and stuff. And I was just like, he was killing me, man. Because the thing with him is he's very smart and aware of like different cultures and stuff, which is really cool. And but yeah, like so. But the thing is like, yeah, you do get success when there are people that hate, but they're not. Like they're still selling out. Like so, there is a big part of you. You know, you can't be doing better than me, or else I'm going to talk shit about you. So that is a huge part, and I think that's a big thing of like the small town mentality type thing. I think we get that a lot here. Yeah. Like that's a really big part. But
Which to be completely honest, and I feel like I still have the outside looking in perspective, which I want to maintain as long as I can because I like being there.
yeah,
With Dry Heat is now cemented. They're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Which is great, right?
Yeah.
They are not going anywhere. I hope that a year from now, Quesadas is still open.
Yeah.
I hope they're still doing their thing, and I hope that Hyenas actually opens up this summer.
yeah,
But I feel like once Hyenas opens and they get their groundwork, by the time that happens, and Quesadas is still around, Dry Heat is still around, for lack of a better term, I think playtime is over. Because from what I have heard from secondhand stories about where the comedy scene here used to be, where it is now, what the kind of culture is, what the cliquiness of it is, what all the the small nonsense, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I did my first open mic like July of last year, and I started regularly going around August around like October, November ish.
Okay.
And even in that short time, I've watched these open mics go from like they're struggling to get 5 to 8 people on a list to now you better fucking be on time or that list is packed out.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's awesome. Like it's great.
So sick.
It's amazing to see.
Yep.
And so now it's like it's inching up to the point where it's like if this is not just your social life, this is not just a fun thing to do.
Yes.
It's like hey and credit where it's due. Steph, Buck, and Josh.
Yes.
At least from my personal experience, the 3 of them have been saying this for a long time. Where it's like, hey, the time is coming where it's like, you better have your shit together because opportunities are coming here.
Yep.
And playtime is just about over.
Dude, yes. And that's why I have been trying to work my ass off because I see that. Because I got into stand-up a year before Dry Heat was here.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did you start stand-up?
I started May of 21. Literally, like right after the
fucking
pandemic.
way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So my 3rd year is coming up.
What?
So, yeah. Which...
I kind of figured you were doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
That's not me blowing up smoke up your ass,
No,
but
yeah.
it just kind of like not only with the way you carry yourself and the way you go about doing stand-up, but the way that the more veteran comics, the local veteran comics treat you, it seems like you've been doing it for a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Thank you, man. I really, really attribute that to my dad, actually. My dad is like literally one of the hardest working people I've ever known. Like he never went to college, and every job he works at, he works his way up regardless of any means. He gets his way to the top. And so I have that work ethic. And once I found out that stand-up was something that I loved, I, to this day, have not stopped working my ass off to do it. And that's why I kind of think, I can, because in terms of stand-up, I want this to be my career. I want to be something someday. And I think that I never brag, but just with what I've done with the small amount of time that I have done, I think that I am destined to do something because I didn't think I would get to where I am now. And obviously I'm very new. I make a lot of mistakes, but I have had a lot of opportunities for somebody who's been in it as long as I have. So I think that, there's something to be said with that. But yeah, no, just back to that's a little bit of bragging.
No. Well, okay, so
I never get to.
Well, hang on. So there's being self-centered and being boisterous and being full of yourself. That is a thing. But then there's also acknowledging what you've accomplished. That's not being selfish. That's called stating that's statements of fact.
Facts, baby.
Yeah, no, that's just telling the truth.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting here saying, "Yeah, I've only been doing comedy for 3 years, but I'm this and I'm that." My question to all, if you hadn't done what you've been doing, I mean, you've produced 2 of your own shows now at Dry Heat that have done pretty well, sold out half of it, right?
Yeah.
Right, half of your shows that you've produced have sold out, and you've been at like
both
90,
sold out.
Oh, okay, boom,
Yeah.
both. Okay, I thought one was like 90% capacity. Okay, so you sold out both your shows that you've done, and that you've produced at Dry Heat. Okay, great. You've been on both. You've been on 2 of the Don't Tells that I know of, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so if you hadn't, and then on top of all that, you're at pretty much every open mic that I've been to.
Yeah.
So if you weren't doing all this and you said everything you did, my next question would be, well, what have you done?
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to show up to a shit ton of open mics and progress through that, but I mean, you need a bit more than that to say everything you just said and have it not just be weightless.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's just be honest.
I would definitely think that because there's shit. I don't even know. I think something that has helped me out a lot is a lot of like the bigger comedians here. They've been so helpful, and I think that's helped out the most because you can go to every single open mic and you can. I mean, yeah, you're getting comfortable with being on stage, but there's so much more that goes into stand-up that's not just the writing or your stage presence. There's just a lot, and I've learned a lot of that from like Zach, Josh, Buck, like Sarah. Like they have all taught me so much, and I'm very grateful for that. So I think that's kind of like one of the main things is just them helping out.
Well, that's what I love about it. Is there's like, and I mean, I'm sure they exist, but I haven't run into them. There's not a lot of gatekeeping. It's just, are you funny?
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you're funny, you're going to get far. And you're seeing that with like a lot of the, like with the one-liner madness thing, Dave Corvette and Serena Ochoa, like they killed it there. And as long as they keep working, they're going to get their opportunities. Because that's exactly how I was. I was just like, I don't want to, and you know, like, you do got to ask for shows and everything. You do have to put yourself out there. But I was like, I just want to be funny first before I start reaching out, and like, because I don't want to get into a position where like I'm just not ready for it. So I knew that from the beginning. And that was another reason. I don't know if, I don't think we were talking about this when we were recording, but when I started stand up, I didn't talk to anybody because I was like, I'm going to let them come to me because I know what it's like. I know that they see thousands of open micers come through and then they're gone. Like they just don't do it anymore. And I was like, I'm going to show them that I'm here for the long run and eventually they'll come talk to me. And that's kind of just the way I've approached everything. And that's how I still know I still have work to do because I just want to be undeniably funny. And that takes a lot of practice and a lot of time and a lot of dedication. And I'm still not there yet. I still fuck up a lot. But, you know, I think that's just the main thing is just, are you funny? And if you are, people will eventually come around to it.
Well, so everything you just said is correct. And through all of that, you become an investment. If you're getting booked for a show, inherently you are an investment because not only is somebody attaching you to their brand, whatever their brand is, you're getting attached to it and you're representing that in one way or another, A. And then B, you now, financially speaking, you become a cut of the money.
Yeah.
So you are taking whether your pay is $5 or $500 for a show, whatever you're getting paid, someone else could have.
Yes.
And the idea is that you were the best fit for that slot, for that night at that venue.
Definitely, for sure.
And you should live up to that the best you can.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big ask too, especially like when I started getting like a lot of booked shows. It was really scary because it's like, oh, people paid the money that they worked for to come and see you, so don't fuck it up.
See, that's why, and that's exactly why, because I was scared already, but that's why I didn't feel as bad saying yes, and she knows this, saying yes to A. Marie shows at 377 when she booked me for that, because I was like, okay, but they're free shows. Yeah. Regardless if I get paid or not, these people just walk in and see comedy. That means that they don't feel bad if they walk out.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't feel as bad about that. So what made you like get up and start actually doing it?
So I was newly sober and very depressed because I realized that when you've been drowning out your sorrows and problems with alcohol and drugs, that when you're sober, you have to deal with those for real. So I was going through a really hard time, and I've been watching stand-up because it made me laugh again. And I was like, you know what? My life is so fucked already. I was like, let's give it a try. And like, it was during, so.
I appreciate the honesty. I mean, shit, man.
Yeah, dude.
So worst case scenario, I just go to these open mics and they feel a sliver of my own pain. Exactly. And we all move on and somebody better gets up and brings back up the mood.
Yep. Right. Like there's going to be better people to bring this up, so it won't be too bad. But like, yeah, I mean, I was in a very vulnerable moment to where it's like that early point in sobriety where you're like, fuck, can I even hold on to this? And I remember I went up, I was a month sober, and I went up and one of my jokes, I don't remember how the whole set went, but I know one joke got a laugh. And after hearing that laugh, I was like, oh, it felt like a drug. And it still does. When I go on stage, it does still feel like a drug. And I was like, oh, this is my new addiction. Like, I knew from that moment, I was like, yeah, this is it. I didn't know if I was going to be good, but I was like, I'm not going to stop this. And it kind of went from there. And honestly, too, just the way everything panned out, because my first mic was with, it was at Inside Out, and it was with Royal and Holly. And this is something that is very important if you are out there running open mics and seeing people for the first time. Be very supportive and warm and welcoming, because that's what they were. And they could have been dicks to me. They could have just been like, oh, just be funny or whatever. They were so sweet to me, and it really made me comfortable with coming back. And so shout out to Holly and Royal. You You guys are awesome. But yeah, and then Jess Wood. I don't know if
yeah. I know of. I never met her, but I know of her.
Yeah, she is like she was my first like I guess like mentor in stand up. Like I remember my first time going on stage. I get off. And she came up to me and told me that she had liked my joke. And I was like, oh, that was my first time. She was like, that was your first time? She's like, you need to continue this. She's like, I know you could do something with this. And I was like, all right. And then we got like really close. Every time I go to New York, I go see Jess. I love her so much. And so, just that bit of encouragement. And then I just kept going out. I remember I asked them if there was more mics because I thought it was only that Monday one. I got the list and shit for about 3 years now. I've been going to most mics. Lately, I've been slowing down just because, like, something that I've realized is, like, with mics, at the position I'm at now, I need to have something new when I go. I don't want to just go with just old shit and just kind of redoing them because I know that stuff works. I've done it at shows. So now I'm more calculated with my open mic time. I have to be working on something, maybe a new tag or a brand new joke. And because, I don't know, I'm kind of over, I need new material and stuff going to mics. But yeah, that's kind of what just got me into it, just desperation and kind of just, let's see if I can do this type stuff.
Well, like the open mics are getting a lot more full now.
Yeah.
But also, that's what you just said, that's a big reason why I haven't been to a mic in the last like 2 weeks or so is because I haven't written new shit.
Yeah.
And 90% of the crowds at any open mic you go to, especially like Monday through Wednesday, they're the same people just going to different mics. And so they know your shit.
Yeah.
And so, and it was funny. I was listening to a podcast. It was a clip. I think it was Bobby Lee's. And they were talking about, it was with Jesus Trejo, who just went to Casadas a little bit ago.
Yep.
And they were talking about, and this kind of made it click for me, where it's like, you don't really go to open mics to get laughs. No. You go to open mics to just practice your stuff, get comfortable on stage, see what you're doing. And then if and when you do get laughs, like, oh, well, this definitely works.
Yes.
If you can make the comics laugh who don't really give a shit about what you have to say, they're just waiting to go up.
Yeah.
If you can make them laugh, then it's like, okay, you got their attention. Okay, awesome. But yeah, a lot of the crowds is the same people. It's the same comedians and their friends or their partners, their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that came with them.
Yep.
And then they're just transplanting through these open mics. And so it's like, you got to come up with new stuff. And that's why I haven't sat down in the last 2 weeks and written anything. I've been fucking lazy as shit about it.
No, I get you. Yeah. Because there's the thing, because you see it all the time. There's comics that go to every single open mic and it's just, they're not getting any better. And it's like, dude, you have to be calculated with this because every minute spent on stage are very precious minutes if you can come out of it with something. So it's like if I can come out of it with a new joke, with a new delivery type, with a new just kind of experimentation that I did, whatever, like that's when it's beneficial. Also like another good thing about mics is learning just how to be comfortable during a bomb. Which is that's great. It's like Mike's perfect place for that because and it still happens to me too sometimes, but you can get thrown off by the lack of response sometimes. It's really weird, but if you can be able to power through with that, you're able to save it for the most part.
That is one thing that became very apparent to me, like from my very first time trying stand up.
Yeah,
is that I am more or less. I have not experienced getting booed off stage yet.
Yeah,
I have. Well, I got close. I got very close at one mic to getting booed off stage, but it didn't happen, thankfully. But I'm comfortable with bombing, and I'm comfortable with silence.
Yeah.
I don't know why yet, and I hope I don't become uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Or I hope I do not become uncomfortable with bombing because that I feel like would set me back.
Yeah.
It's just I know my writing is dick. So I need to get it. I need to get it up to a point where my writing can. Because I remember I was talking to Tripp about this on the podcast, and he said my writing was good, but my presence sucked.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm at the inverse of that, where my presence is okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with bombing. It's just my writing needs to catch up with where I'm at on stage.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like I remember I went to last mic that I did was at Z Lounge.
Yeah.
That's a cool little room too.
I gotta check it out.
It's cool, man. It's a
Yeah.
cool little fucking room. The hosts are funny, interesting guys. They're very interesting guys. I know I like William a lot. William Wheeler, I like him a lot. I've got some choice thoughts about Alex, and he knows that.
Yeah.
But you know, I went up there this last time, and I was this was the Sunday after my last show I did at 377.
Yeah.
So I go, and I was the last one to go up, and I had a couple of whiskeys in me. And I was like, all right,
Nice.
all right, because typically I'm like, stay sober until you're done. So
Yeah.
so I'm very much in control.
Yeah.
But I was like, none of the comics here know who I am.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of these audience members. So if I eat shit, I eat shit. Like, I think
Exactly.
the only people I knew in there were Alex, William, and then that fucking he's a quirky dude, and I like him a lot. Looks homeless half the time, which is
Ellis?
fucking Ellis. Yeah.
I'm so sorry after you said homeless that came to me, but
he was up there, so I knew him. But everyone else, I didn't know who the fuck they were. So like, if I
Yeah.
bought my bomb, whatever. And I went there and I just fucked around, and that was a lot of fun. But I have a bit that I'm working on about Jewish people.
yeah.
And it's got like the tunnel stuff in it, and there's some
Nice.
money stuff in it. And I guess there was like a couple of friends in there, and one of the friends was like a devout Jew.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and one of the ladies, she was a bit older, so like mid-50s or so.
Yeah.
She was sitting there, and she was literally sitting there going, "Stop."
Oh shit.
And I saw that, and I just thought to myself, no.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know if that's a good thing, because I was making other people laugh with it, and that's
Yeah.
what really helps me propel. But like, if I'm up, that's the first time that happened. But like, my first thought in my brain was, she's telling me to stop. I'm gonna keep going.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna keep going because I'm getting a reaction.
100%. And you can't let that throw you off because it'll tank you. That happened to me Saturday. There was some dude I was hosting, and some dude is in the audience. And
Where were you at?
I was at Dry Heat.
Okay.
And there was some dude, and he's giving a very sarcastic laugh right after every single one of my punchlines, but he's not timing it right, so he's fucking with my punchlines.
Oh, so he's like Joker in
Yes.
the Joker. He's like,
And-
"Ah!"
No, he kept going, And bro, the first 5 minutes of my set, I'm ignoring it, and I'm just like, because I'm a professional, I fucking ignored it. And then that 6 minute came around, and I was like, who the fuck is laughing like that? It pissed me off so much. And he was like, oh, that's just my laugh. And I felt like a dick. And it was, so that shit, if you call attention to it, because like I said, I'm new, I make mistakes, and that was one of my mistakes. And I called attention to it, rest of my set tanked, and I was like, well, there's a learning thing there.
How do you feel you do with handling hecklers?
Shit, if it was on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say a 5. It's a 50-50 chance with me. Because crowd work is not, I haven't worked on it. I have had some moments, like the fucking Bourbon and Boots shows, for the most part, the ones I've done, they don't want material. Like, they want to interact with you. So you are forced to do crowd work there.
Those are the ones that Buck and K. Shane put on, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And
I've
those
been to
ones,
one of those. Those are fun.
yeah, those are wild. I remember I got saved once because I was headlining, and there was some lady in the crowd, or she was drunk or whatever, and she was engaging with me, and she was talking about how she would do coke at her job, and just the perfect person to do crowd work with. So that helped, but it's not a skill that I have attempted to work on as much as I could, because right now I'm just like, oh, I need to, because my main goal this year is just to have a perfect feature set. And so I haven't really been looking outside of writing material, delivering material, reworking shit. But I mean, you can have your opinions on crowd work all you want, but this day and age, it is a skill that is needed with comedy, because I've had moments where I've pulled out of it, like in a good sense, like I've like done good. And then I've had times where it was just horrible.
Do you feel like you have the personality for crowd work right now?
Definitely. Just because I'm very short and cutesy when I'm up there. Like I what is Zach? Zach told me this once. He was like, you have that likability. Maybe I said it really weirdly, but he was like, you have that likability, lean into that. So I feel like if you have the likability, it would be easy to engage with the crowd. I don't like I'm very awkward talking to people just anytime. It is a little bit easier with the mic in your hand because you do feel a little bit more confident. But yeah, like that's why I don't know. The networking is still something that I have to get better with because I'm very awkward still, like outside of everything. But yeah, crowd work is definitely something that I do need to work on. It's just scary.
Do you feel like it's like the muscle in your brain you have to train a bit more? Is that on the fly, come up with the right response? And then it's so strange. It's like you need to come up with the right response. And then you also need to find, because if you're doing crowd work with an individual and you want to have it last a little longer than like 15 seconds, you need to have the ability to come up with something that's obviously funny, but it kind of like lays it up a little bit for it to keep going.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To have it not just hit a wall immediately. Yes. And it's funny, like obviously I think right now like the biggest crowd work person is probably Matt Rife.
Yeah.
And his technique, because his level of attractiveness, what he does, and I've noticed this, is he'll say his response for crowd work, and then he kind of does this thing where he like leans back and opens himself up and laughs. Yeah. And he knows how to laugh attractively. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
To where he's still winning the crowd over. And I feel like when he's doing that, you can kind of see like the Apple spin wheel above his head as he's loading the next response. And then when he comes out of his laugh, so I feel like a lot of comics have that technique where it's like they buy themselves time to come up with something and hopefully it works.
Yeah, that's really, really weird.
Like David Lucas does that, where he'll laugh and then he'll drop the mic. He'll do like a Chappelle thing where he drops the mic and hits his leg.
Yeah,
and then he'll say a couple of expletives and then go back into crowd work.
Yes,
but it's anything they can do to buy themselves time while staying likable, because you can't just like stand there.
No,
because then it's like, all right, what's this fucking weirdo doing?
Yep,
but while you're still playing with you're still in the mode of play, buying yourself time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And rinse and repeat until you have to rinse and repeat that and before it becomes noticeable to the average audience member.
Definitely. And that's something that like noticing that is really, really crazy, because I've seen that with D'Elia too, because he's another big crowd work guy. When he laughs, you can see, if you look at him, he is just going through so much in his head to think of that next thing for crowd work. And it's so crazy because me on stage, I kind of know where I'm going with jokes, but it's like there's so much that goes on in your head. It's like, oh, this joke isn't working good. Let me pivot to this topic. It's like you're not essentially on autopilot, but you're doing kind of two things at once, because you're saying your jokes, you're trying to be in the moment, but then you're also thinking of what's next, what was their reaction. It's like there's already so much in my mind that working crowd work on top of that is something completely new, because I'm already just kind of just out of it when I'm up there. And so, but yeah, that crowd work is definitely...
I'm shocked you people are laughing in the first place.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. There will be things I'll say up there was like, you know, what? I didn't think that was going to get a laugh.
Where it's like, that made you laugh? Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah. Like sometimes your setup will be making people laugh and I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be a good crowd.
How do you decide where to time laughter for the audience? Because there will be things, and I see it with my stuff, I see it with everyone else locally, where they will do their stuff at an open mic and it's either get the pops here and there, or get laughs here and there, or just be dead. Then they'll do that same set in front of a crowd, and stuff that you would think, like you just said, it's just setting it up or it's just preparing a premise.
Yeah.
It'll already get laughs. Like, well, okay, wait, why is the crowd laughing at that? You know what I mean? Like, how are you diffusing that between, okay, open mic to actual like show?
That comes with with the way I think about it. I think that comes with just experience on stage, because if you're doing a joke and the setup is making people laugh, the way you've been saying it, and they're laughing at the setup, and you say the punch, you just stepped on those laughs, and they're not going to hear that punch because they're laughing, and it's not going to be a good joke. So if people are laughing at my setup, I'll let them laugh, and then I don't know how to explain it, but when you say the punch, you have to change your inflection, because they already think that the setup is the joke. So you have to come outside of whatever you're doing normally and punch in a completely different way. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but that's essentially it. Is it just has to be just different because they already think the joke is done. And it kind of is like when you're doing tags, when you have a joke and you have a few tags, the way those hit is you kind of have to make your punchline a tag in a sense, and that is just with the inflection of voice.
Define that structure for people who have no idea what the fuck a tag is.
Oh yeah, so a tag. So with a joke, you have setup, punch, and then a tag is just like you have setup, punch, tag, tag. So the tag is just, I guess, essentially another punch, but it's just adding to the joke. It's like an example that I've just put in one of my jokes is that, like I say, because I'm short, when I 69, I still get to suck on a titty. And that's the punch. And then the tag is I'm Hispanic, so we call that a tres leches. And then I have another thing, and then it's like, my favorite sex toy is a stepladder. And then I walk into Home Depot, get a hard on. Like those are the tags. But yeah, it's so weird.
That's so fucking stupid.
It's so dumb, dude.
Tres
People
leches,
love
that's
it.
funny.
I know, yeah. That one has been a new tag that I've added, and people have been liking that one.
That's
it's so funny.
That's so fucking stupid. Okay, so you said that your goal for the year, one of your goals is to have a perfect feature set.
Yes.
What, from the time length to the structure to the content, without obviously giving away all your bits, but just like the subject matter. Like, what does a perfect feature set look for you in your head right now?
So right now it'll be 35 minutes, just because.
That's a headline at some of the local shows here.
Yeah, definitely.
That kind of helps you two ways.
It definitely does, and that's why I want that, because usually feature spots at like the clubs are 20 to 30. I need 35 because whatever amount of time I'm getting asked to do, I need more than that because I'll forget stuff or whatever. It just makes me feel more comfortable. But the way it looks is just kind of a stepping stone toward my special whatever or whenever that's going to be. Like I remember I had a lot of trouble kind of piecing everything together, and I called Zach Bennett. I don't know if you know who he is.
I know of him.
Yeah, he is. Like we clicked instantly because he's a punk rock dude and he's a brilliant comic. He's out there in LA doing his thing. Shout out to Zach.
He's coming to Dry Heat here pretty soon, right?
He is. Yeah, and I am gonna try to get him on hardcore too, because it's looking like that's gonna kind of line up. So I'd be stoked for that. But yeah, he's an amazing comic. Definitely check him out. But I was having trouble kind of piecing together my big set, and I asked him, and it kind of is. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but the way he explained it just made sense. He was like, think of your set as a movie. He's like, have your beginning of who you are. That's why I like to start off with the short jokes. It's like who I am. And then it kind of just it's like a line all the way to the end. Like there's my short jokes. I talk about me getting sober, and then I kind of talk about how the world is scary and it's just kind of weird. And I still travel a lot. There's all my traveling bits. And then at the end is just kind of where I'm at now, which is me living at home with parents, kind of the deer joke and everything. So it's like kind of just that line from why I am who I am and where I'm at now. And just kind of piecing everything together in that to make my own perspective.
Well, that's obviously comedy is subjective and people like different things. But for me, the best specials do end up telling a story.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, because there's some that I have seen that, I mean, they don't tell a story, but they're still very good. Like, I don't know if you've seen... it's called Road Work by David Tell. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen Your Mouth's Not Pregnant by David Tell? It's a wild name for a special. But so those two, which is why I love Attell so much, it's just kind of jokes. There's really no story, but it's like that is such a rare thing. Yeah. I've never seen that done with anybody outside of him. So essentially the specials are going to tell a story because of like what we were talking about earlier. Your perspective is what's unique to everything. So that's kind of the way that I want my special album, whatever. That's the way I want that to be, is just to kind of go with the story thing, because I think that's what people want to hear. And they want that. How
do you tailor your set between a New Mexico crowd and a New York crowd?
There is some changing, and that's why I've kind of stopped writing like local stuff, just because it kind of doesn't doesn't really translate. But the difference is more in the delivery, I would say. Because my jokes, I have like a few local jokes. Most of them are kind of universal. They kind of work wherever. And in New York, what I've noticed is people, they want fast paced, like really quick, which is kind of what I do already. But like they really want, because they see so much comedy already. They're just like, tell me jokes. They're like, I don't want to hear some long setup. I just want to hear set a punch. Like, give me that.
Unless it's someone they already trust to be inherently funny.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and they have no idea who I am. But I kind of like it that way, even like with the comics and stuff, because they hear, oh, from Albuquerque, you guys even have comedy clubs there, and then I fucking get up there and do my thing. Like, it's so cool, because then they come up to me after, like, oh, I got to check out Albuquerque. I was like, yeah, dude, we got some good shit going on. But yeah, no, the audience is there. They want pure jokes, and they want the fast-paced stuff. And that's from the first time I went to New York, I realized that. I remember my timing was fucked up because the crowds there are nuts. They want that fast-paced. They want the rolling laughter. And so I remember when I came back, I kind of was like, okay, I need my whole set to be that. And I also watched Otero, and his whole thing is like that too.
So you're really big on like the whole laughs per minute thing.
Yes. I never really like calculated them or anything, but I am I feel so good when I have that rolling laughter, when I just keep going at it. That's my favorite thing. And essentially that is the laughs per minute. And still, like, I guess like some of these like other clubs, I guess they're still paying attention to that, which I mean, good for me, because because that's just kind of the way my set is. I don't know, dude. I've tried doing stories, and I get like, I'm sure you've noticed now, I trail off like crazy, dude. And like me telling a story on stage, I just get lost in it. Like I have tried, but yeah, I haven't really gotten into like the whole telling a story
Well,
thing.
I feel like understanding the way your own brain works, being very self-aware in general, but
Yeah.
understanding how your brain works, understanding what your whether it's conscious or not, your on-stage persona, how you naturally present yourself, how you naturally articulate your thoughts, that really plays into where, like, if it's a spectrum from over here, you've got the Dave Attell's and Mark Norman's,
Yeah.
where it's just set up, punch, set up, punch, set up, punch, where it's just, like, you're, like, speed bagging.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the way over here, you've got, like, the Dave Chappelle style.
Yeah.
Where you have a long setup, you're really getting into a story, and then just the punchline is so heavy.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, hard-hitting. I don't know if you've seen his latest special, The Dreamer.
I haven't, but I have seen his specials.
It's so good. He has a joke, and it's like a 5-minute joke.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's about him meeting, maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, but still, it's him meeting Jim Carrey for the first time.
Yeah.
But Jim Carrey was shooting Man on the Moon, and so he's Andy Kaufman, and so he's like, I'm here to see Jim Carrey, not to meet Andy Kaufman. He was like, on the set, he would demand to be called Andy and all this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then he trails it out for like 4 minutes, and he goes, this dude was pretending to be someone that he's not. It really weirded me out. And that's how I feel about transgenders. And it's boom!
Punch.
And it just
Yeah.
fucking explodes.
Yeah.
But it took like 4 minutes to get to that big explosion.
Yes.
So you have that all the way over here on this spectrum. And then figuring out where you land in there, I think that's one of the biggest things to like, okay, now how do I write for that? How do I write for myself?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's when the progression comes. Is once you kind of find your voice. Granted, I'm still not there. I'm still trying to experiment with everything because I don't know what my voice is yet. And once you get to that point where you're writing in your own voice, where you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, that's when you explode.
And that's one of the things that never really made sense to me, why a lot of stand-up comedians, not a lot, but why like a good amount of stand-up comedians aren't that great of comedic actors. Because at some point, to be a great stand-up, you're still like, yeah, you're yourself, but on stage, you're this like exaggerated version of yourself. You're still performing. You're still presenting. Like, you're not speaking the way we're speaking right now.
Yeah.
It's performative. It's exaggerated. It's not necessarily larger than life, but it's a different version of yourself that you don't operate at that level 24 hours a day.
No.
Because that's not
that's not how you interact in regular life.
No.
So figuring out what that version of yourself is and leaning into it, I feel like that's one of the barriers where, like, if you can meet that, understand it, and cross it, that's when you can really become just a killer.
Definitely.
Left and right.
Like the same on stage and off stage. Dude, it's so funny. I was explaining this to my friend the other day. I was like, when I'm on stage, that version of me is everything I want to be, which is a little sad and pathetic, but it's like, that is the cool me. It's like, if I could see me from like a different perspective, me on stage, I'm like, that's who I want to be. And I only get to feel that for like 10 minutes or 20, whatever the set I'm doing. When I'm on that stage, that's the version of me who I want to be. And I realize that, so I do see that, I need to be that on and off stage, because that's where everything is going to start clicking. But it's just, it's different. You kind of really just don't know it unless you're a comic, but it's a very weird wall between you on stage and you just a regular human.
And because your brain is one that is, I've never dealt with substance addiction or anything like that, but I would imagine from just watching interviews and just secondhand stories that I've heard on this podcast, does it ever not worry you, but it, like, you feel less sometimes when you're not who you are on stage throughout a regular? It's like, man, I wish I could just be that. Like you just say, I wish I could be that more often, and your brain kind of just activates towards that. Like, does that ever kind of like not dampen your mood, but like, man, I wish I could live as that person.
Yeah.
Do those thoughts ever enter your brain?
They do. And it's a big, it can be hard whenever I'm not doing stand-up, like when I'm not around the mics, when I'm not around, the shows or anything. It is hard. I am still kind of dealing with that, but it's, just there's a weird disconnect because because I kind of just traded one addiction for another. I am just addicted to stand-up now.
Well, you have an addictive personality. That's all
100%.
That's all that means.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's not abnormal.
Yeah.
But I have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like being able to fulfill that with the right things. That's what's important. How do you... Well, keep going. I don't want to cut off your answer.
No, yeah. It's like a big... I have a big imposter syndrome type thing. And just because, I am so new and I do get a lot of opportunities... And sometimes, like when I'm on stage, I'm not thinking about this shit. I'm thinking like I am the shit when I'm up there.
Which is what you should be thinking.
Exactly.
You should be thinking that.
Like that's exactly what you should be thinking. But off stage, I'm just like, why? It just doesn't make sense. Like it really doesn't. I have never been good at anything in life. I was never in sports. I tried skating. I sucked. I've tried different things. I've never been good at anything. And it's like, I see people who have been doing this 10 plus years and I'm like, why do I get what I get? But then
does it matter?
It doesn't at all. And I've been trying to get that in my head, and I do like have very supportive friends like outside of stand-up who them being outside of stand-up, they see what you're doing and they're like, you're doing a lot of shit. So I do need that. But like I have been coming to terms lately with like, I work my ass off and I do deserve everything I'm getting, but it's easier said than done having that in your head all the time. It's
important. It's important not to get a big ego about it, and it's important to not act like you're better than anybody else. But then at the same time, I ask, does it matter? Because at some level it does, because that means you're reaping what you're sowing, right? You're putting in hard work, and now you're seeing returns on it, right?
Definitely.
And that's important. Because on the other hand, I was having this conversation when I went on 10 Drink last night, right?
Yeah.
We were kind of having this conversation. It's important to support people that are working at something. It's important to encourage people. But it's more important, and the way that I had put it was, it's important to support local.
Yeah.
But it's more important, and it's more of an imperative to support good local.
Yes.
If somebody, like, and the way that conversation got framed last night was if somebody, like, if you get done with your set, let's say you're at an open mic.
Yeah.
You get done with your set and you go ask somebody, let's say you, just for this purpose of the conversation, if you came up to me, you're like, hey man, what'd you think of my set? And if I thought you bombed, I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
And the reason, exactly. And the reason I'm going to tell you primarily is because you opened the dialogue.
Yes.
I didn't come up to you and say, hey dude, you fucking sucked. What happened?
Yeah. That's just a dick. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's being mean, right?
Yeah.
That's being an asshole. But if you go up to somebody and you're like, hey, what'd you think of my set? And they tell you sucked, you don't get to turn around and be mad at them. Now, granted, if they give you some exuberant answers trying to beat you to the ground, say, hey man, okay, lay off. Okay, I suck. But if they're like, hey man, how did I do? Like, nope, that wasn't great. You didn't do good, but here's why. That's what you're opening yourself up to, and you should accept that. And then on the inverse of that, if somebody's doing well, you should, like, in general, it's like, hey man, that was really good.
Yes.
And you're really good about that. Jared's really good about that. Steph is really good. The guys, the underlying fucking denominator is the people that are good are good about encouraging other people that are also good.
Exactly.
Because they want other people to do well. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there are talented comedians in this city and around the country that are really good at what they do and they want to keep other people down.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let them live and they'll reap what they're sowing at some point sooner rather than later.
Exactly.
But the people that rise, especially now, the people that rise to the top are the ones that are helping other people go with them.
100%. And that's why I, respect like all of the like bigger comics here, because if I ask them if I did good and I didn't, they're going to tell me. Buck has told me numerous times. Steph has told me numerous times. Zach, Josh, they have told me that fucking sucked, dude. But this is why. Like, they are always very honest about that. And same thing. That's also who you should have when you're with people at your level. Like with I have Carter, who I'm really close with, and Tyler. If I suck, they're gonna tell me, and I need that because, with the bigger comics, they're off doing their own thing. It's like we have our class or whatever, the people who are around us hustling. Like, we need to hold each other accountable. If we suck, we're gonna tell each other. But this is how we could do good. And I think that's also very important aspect too, is just kind of who you surround yourself with in terms of your level. Yeah. Which is it's also good too, because then you get that friendly competition where you're like, oh, he killed, I'm gonna go up and kill too, like just that type of thing. Always getting this show, I'm gonna get this. So that's also been very helpful too. It just kind of keeps you on your toes.
No, I agree 100%. And to go back to an addictive personality, because you said that you've replaced one addiction with another, and when you get up there and you get laughs, it's like you're getting that dopamine hit. It's like, oh shit, like that's awesome. Yeah. So how do you handle bombing? How do you mitigate your brain when you go up expecting a dopamine hit and you don't get it?
That one feels like, I have a joke about this, and it is 100% true. That being on stage, it feels like drugs. It really does. Even when you're bombing, it feels like drugs. But right at the end, when you're about to get sober, it's like, why am I doing this? This is not good for me. Like, it just is bad. Like, I gotta stop. Like, you have that doubt. You're like, what the fuck am I even doing? Like, it does hurt, and I get very mad. But then it's like, what's next? Like, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back. I'll be at the mic on Monday.
Yes, good.
That's the main thing, and that's a compliment that I got from Josh one time. It made me feel really good because I didn't think people expected that, but I remember he was on Buck's podcast, and because they were talking about, like, I don't know, my name got brought up. They're like, Jake is good, and then Buck was like, I've put Jake in some situations where it was rough for him. Which he has, but Josh was like, but that's the thing about Jake is he'll take that L, but he'll be back on stage the next day, and that's 100% true.
Well, in everything you do, you can't just let one shitty time derail you from the whole shebang.
Exactly.
But I mean, and that's something that I'm really hoping for, because again, like, and there's a bigger reasons why maybe we don't have multiple open mics a night, but if Albuquerque. In this, I feel like a bit of it goes to governmental legislative stuff, how late can bars stay open, how much, how they can whatever. If we can find a way as a city to get back to like the 2017, 2018, where bars are staying open till 2 and shit like that. Because I remember it's the first time that I went to Slice Parlor.
Yeah.
And I did a mic there. This was a few months ago. And I had a new joke and it did shocking. I mean, every joke that I do that gets a laugh does shockingly well. Yeah. But this one did shockingly well. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's awesome. Now I have to go home. Like, that would be sick if it was like, okay, you could do this one and then hop over to another and do it again. Not just for the, I want to get another laugh. Like, okay, this worked here. Can it work here? How do I change it? Like, tag it up a little bit to punch it up a little bit, make it work somewhere else. And so I hope we can, because now we have 7 nights a week, right?
Yes. We have 7 nights a week. You started after Founders, right?
Yeah, I was never there.
Dude, Monday was my favorite day of the entire week because we had Jake's mic at Lizardtail, and then right after that, we would go to Founders. And Founders, like, you can have a new joke at Jake's, and if it works, you're like, okay, let me change this, do it at Founders, and boom, you got it. Like, that was the best day because you had those 2 mics. It felt like you were in New York because you're going to a basement and shit. Like, that was my favorite day. But
who is in charge? This is the 3rd time on the podcast alone that I've heard about this Founders mic.
It's the best.
Who was in charge of it?
So Holly was in charge. Holly and Kurt. It was called Dancing in the Dark. So it was them 2 doing that one, which was, because they had started in Inside Out when I had started, because Royal went to do his mic at Juno, and then it was Holly and Kurt, and then it got, winter came and Inside Out doesn't have the roof, so they moved down to Founders. And ever since then, everybody loved it so much down there, they've just stayed there, even during the summer and everything.
This was like maybe end of November going to December. It was one of the Wednesday nights at Chuck's over at Red Door. We're freezing our fucking balls off around the burning fucking cans. Yep. And Chuck gets on the mic after like the 4th or 5th guy. He goes, we're all cold out here, but when we go into the bar and there's somebody smacking down their French fries or talking to their angry girlfriend over your set, you're going to beg me to get back out here. Yep. And I'm sitting there like, he's probably right.
Yeah, and he is. Yeah. Dude, inside in Red Door can be fucking rough, dude.
Oh my God. Like, okay. My favorite, were you there when obviously for like the indoor one, the mic's right next to the door, but there was like the table of 3 people right here, and the chick was high on something and started crying. Were you there for that?
Oh, started crying? Was she like hippie, dreads and everything? Yes.
Were you there when she was crying though?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I know a couple people had left before she started crying, and I don't know if you were one of them. Yeah, so basically what happens is the 2 dudes and the chick. Yeah. And the chick was kind of acting weird already through the sets, like heckling through sets or whatever. And okay, so you left. Dude, I shit you not. So because I just gotten done doing a podcast with this guy. He's a traveling entertainer dude that I met that night on the podcast because we had a mutual friend.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and so he was like, "Yeah, I don't plan on leaving town until like 2 a.m. So yeah, I'll come with you to the open mic. Fuck it, why not?" And I was like, "Okay." Yeah. And he does he's not a comedian, but he'll like drop into a mic and try it. You know what I mean? Yep. That type of shit. Because he's like, oh my God, my watch. Okay, so, the skincare, I think it's mainly for men. It's called Native. It's like shampoos. So he's like one of their main models. Like that's one of the things that he does for that. Yeah. And he writes his own comics and animation and shit. It's really cool. Anyway, so he had dropped in and I was like, yeah, dude, this is like one of the best. This is one of my favorite open mics. This is a really good one to do for your first time in Albuquerque. Like all this type of stuff. I was like, okay. So he signs up and the girl had been heckling. Yeah. And whatever, like saying stupid shit. I think she was on mushrooms.
Yeah, I think
something tells me from my own personal experience on mushrooms. I think she was on mushrooms.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Anyway, he's doing his set, and he's not doing well. But like 2 minutes into his set, she starts not crying, but like bawling, like weeping. What? Out of nowhere, like
what the fuck?
And everyone is like, what the fuck? And I'm sitting there, and my chick's sitting next to me. Yeah. I look down the bar and I see Chuck, and he's like,
yep, I could totally see that.
He's like, and so the guy's up there doing his set, and she starts like, but she lets out this like, bah! And he turns around and he's like, and he's got the Australian accent. It was that guy, and he's like, I am so sorry. he's like, he turns to the guy, he goes, do I do something? And the crowd's like, and yeah, so she cried through that. I got up there, I started doing my set. She starts crying through that. I'm just ignoring her.
Yeah.
I'm just whatever. And I did my joke about where I talk about retired Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
and she was definitely, because she went from crying to, and I said retired Oompa Loompa, and she goes, like the Joker, like the fucking Joker. And I'm like,
weird.
Whoa, what the that? And then, but then it got really weird and it got borderline violent because she started like she got up after I finished. I sat back down, and I think I forget who went up after me, but she walked over to the bar and she tries like. I forget who she was trying to like yell at or talk to or whatever, but she became fucking boisterous. So then she went back down, sat, and she started like heckling to the point of yelling.
Oh, shit.
And it got so bad that Trip yelled.
I fucking love Trip.
Me too. But he was standing at the bar and he's watching it. He goes, get out!
Fuck yeah, dude.
And then we don't even know if like two guys were actually with her or what. So they're trying to get her out. She's being stupid, and so like I had to chime in, and like another dude, like he's like, get the fuck out. And then the female bartender had to come around and like start like, come on, that was one of my favorite. Oh my god. But anyway, I ask about Founders because if that room has been used for an open mic before. And because they're a speakeasy, not that I'm advocating for this, but I'm sure that they're not exactly checked that well for how late they're open.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating to stay open past like 1 or 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning on a Monday night.
Yep.
But what I'm just saying is typically on Monday nights that I've been there, Lizard Tail kind of winds. It starts at 7. No, it starts at 8.
Yes,
right? Starts at 8. So it typically winds down at about 9:30.
Yep.
For people that can stick around, if you want to hop down more than a couple of blocks, but if you want to go down about 3 miles to Founders, that mic can start at fucking 9:30.
Yep.
And close out at about 11. Or if they want to do what they've had to do down at a fucking Slice Parlor, where you know what? Let's do sign up at Lizard Tail. Sign ups at fucking 6:30.
Yeah.
Shit starts at 7. You're out by 8:30. Founder starts at 9. We're done by 10:30.
That's perfect. Yeah. That honestly, like, because you can ask anybody who has been there, Founders was the best mic. It was amazing. Because the thing that I loved about it is you didn't know if it was going to be like a good crowd, like a really good crowd for a fucking mic, or just nobody's into it. And with that, you're going up you have to have your wits about you when you're going up there. And it was just, perfect having the 2 mics, but it just felt so like ready for comedy because it's the low ceilings, the basement. It's like a lot of us, that's where we like just got good because it was just that randomness of it. It was the best. It was an awesome environment.
So How long were you going to Founders before the mic stopped?
I was there up until the very last one.
But how long were you going? I guess like how many months, years?
Oh shit! It had to be.
They say how long were you participating in that Founders Inside Out hybrid mic?
2 years, maybe a little less than. Okay. Yeah, less than. 2 years.
So it stopped recently.
Yeah, but I think they had it before the pandemic.
Okay.
I think. So,
and you would say that let's just say about Founders, you'd say that room was pretty liked amongst the community.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, I've never said this out loud on the podcast, but ever since I've been hearing about it, I've been thinking about it. I think I'm gonna find out who the fuck like manages all that stuff for. It's El Rey, right? That manages it.
Yes.
I'm gonna figure out who does the management down there.
Yeah.
And see if we can just start that back up.
Dude, yes.
I'll find a PA that I can buy off Marketplace, or a speaker that I can buy off Marketplace for like $100. I'll buy my own mic stand, and I'll just grab one of the tiny Sures that I have, and I'll stick it on the mic stand, and I'll say, hey, please don't drop this shit, because I use this for a podcast, please, thank you.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Like, people would love that. I'm sure they would pitch into it's like that. Everybody misses that mic. I know it. And it's just...
And I just won't book podcasts on Mondays. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Because right now, I've gotten to the point where... And what really opened my eyes to structuring it this way was Steph. He had sent me this like, Excel spreadsheet thing. And it was like his workout plan, pretty much, for comedy in general.
Yes, I know
whether it's
exactly
like
what you're
content
talking about.
creation or going to mics, writing time,
Yes.
coming up with like screenplays, like just entertainment in general, very over encompassing.
Yeah.
So it's just gotten to the point, and I've really fucked off with it over the last 2 weeks because of the amount of work that I've had with both regular job and with this.
Oh, I get it.
Is if I'm not doing a podcast during the night, I have to go to an open mic.
Yes.
And then vice versa, right? So yeah, if it means I just don't book Monday night podcasts anymore, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because personally, I would like, because where the Saturday one is at a kombucha place, right? I've yet to go.
believe so.
I've yet to go to that one.
Yeah, I haven't been to that one either.
Bonnie does that, right?
Yes.
Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, Bonnie does.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get in contact with, because I know like one of the people that books Launchpad,
Yes.
and I know that they're all a big conglomerate, and they all like are owned by the same people, and then they all work
Yes.
together. Where it's like El Rey, Inside Out, Launchpad, Moonlight, and then
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yes.
So
Damn.
yeah, I think I'm gonna figure that out.
Dude, people would be so fucking happy. That would be a pretty wild open mic list. People would be getting there.
That would be sick because I want to contribute one way or another to the comedy scene here.
Hell yeah.
I really do enjoy stand up, and then I think more mic time the better. And again, like I'm brand new, but I mean I don't mind saying this like I have already. Like with all these comedy clubs opening and all these opportunities coming, playtime's over.
Exactly.
And the more opportunity to do time, the better.
100%.
And quite frankly, my first mic was at Inside Out when Amory and Buck were doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like big shout out to fucking Amory and Buck, because they were the ones that got me in starting stand up.
Hell yeah.
Like they came up to me after, because I was going there and I brought a notebook with me and I was taking notes and I was like just watching. And with that format they were doing, that like killed. Did you ever go to the fucking
I did.
Inside Out? Okay, that killed Tony style.
Yeah.
That would be great for Albuquerque.
Definitely. For sure.
Like, and I was talking about that with Evan Rons. That style of show would do, I feel like with enough push behind comedy in general, that style would do really well here.
Oh, definitely.
And it's just fun. So I really think, the reason I bring this up is like, it was fun being on the Inside Out stage anyway.
Yeah.
It was just fun. It's a fun place. I love going Inside Out in general.
Yep.
But I've only been to Founders once, but I like that environment.
It's so sick.
And I think because I mean, I love how because I don't think stand-up is completely mainstream yet, but it's getting there. It is so close. It's right there. I mean, Kill Tony's selling out arenas.
Yeah, that's nuts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's getting so fucking big.
It is.
And it's becoming so much more accepted as a real, no, this is a real art form. You're not just standing up there and talking.
Yeah.
Like, it's a real fucking thing. So, but then, like, keeping the element of we're supposed to be kind of late at night, dark.
Yep.
Underground
punk shit.
Yeah, it's like, all right. Yeah, they're down there telling fucking jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to sell you some jokes here, kid.
First one's free.
That's how they get you hooked. They give you your first pity laugh, and you're like, oh,
exactly.
I can do it. It's like smoking brown weed for the first time as a 14-year-old. Dude. Hey, wait a minute.
That swag.
Yeah.
Dude, hell yeah.
But I think that bringing that back would be a lot of good.
Oh, 100%.
I think it would be a lot of fucking good. And I know it would be a lot of good. And just to sound a little selfish, it would work because I work at a standard 9 to 5. But even if I worked, I'm gaming this out in real time. Even if I worked late, I could still make it to that because it's so late at night.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be, I think I'm gonna send a couple emails this week.
Dude, definitely. I'm behind you on that 100%. I think
I'm gonna send a couple emails.
Dope shit.
That'd be cool, man.
Yeah.
Just to have more time, have more mic availability.
For sure.
And again, I like the speakeasy. You have to walk through a fridge to get to my mic, bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so cool.
That would just be interesting to do.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah, and then the low ceilings, like it has such a New York feel to it, and I love anything that feels like it. So I'm all for it.
That'd be nice.
Hell yeah.
Because even like doing the one at Inside Out where there wasn't a ton of people there, it was still fun. And and one of the best experiences in the stand-up world here that I've had was literally It was the Inside Out mic. It was one of the last ones they did, and only Buck was there, like hosting wise.
Yeah.
And there was in the entirety, including Buck, in the entirety of Inside Out, 5 people were there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was me, my chick, and then like 2 other people, and then Buck.
Damn, yeah.
And like one guy went up and did time.
Yep.
That was it. Just one. I think it was Jake actually.
Oh shit, really?
I think it was him. He went up and did time.
Yeah.
Buck interviewed him for a little bit, and then Buck just fucked around for like half an hour, and we called it a day.
Hell yeah,
but
dude.
it was cool. But yeah, if there's a need for founders, I mean, because I was having that conversation towards the end of the podcast with Sarah, where I was like, well, what rooms are not being used here?
Yeah.
That because again, with the growing of stand up, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but like with the growing of stand up, more people are going out. And I mean, like, let's say, for argument's sake, right? Here's a good example, since we're already talking about it. Let's say, for whatever reason, Jake decided to take his open mic out of Lizard Tail, and they went to, I don't know, fucking Ex Novo in Corrales. Yeah. For whatever reason, they decided to do that.
Yeah.
That Monday night at Lizard Tail, their liquor sales go down drastically.
100%. Yeah.
So there is every incentive for these places to be having, not to degrade it, but to have gimmicks.
Yeah.
To have these events going on, to have these extra, anything that brings in extra foot traffic.
Yes.
Right? Without like annoying patrons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without having to annoy the patrons. Let's put it that
way.
Yeah.
I get
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But if there's a need for that, or if there's a want for it, if the marketplace wants it, if there's a demand for it, supply needs to be there. 100%. And anything to drive up liquor sales for businesses right now is what they really need.
Yes.
It blew my fucking mind. And that's why I stuck on it for so long on Sarah's episode. It blew my fucking mind what goes into getting a liquor license and why they don't have one.
Yeah, it is. Because they've explained that to us so many times, and it's insane here. All the little like stipulations and shit. It's so stupid.
And like the money involved.
Yes, it's
$250,000 to be able to sell booze.
That is crazy shit. And then they're like leasing it out too because it's so expensive. It's like, dude, it's nuts. It's insane.
And then the fact there's only a limited amount of liquor licenses, that makes 0 sense.
It's so stupid.
It goes against the market. You don't want a limited amount of, you don't want to contain the ability for businesses to open, in theory.
Yeah. And now,
provided you're not a nefarious organization that's going against the people you govern, but
exactly.
But, you don't want to. Why would you want to cap? Like that's like Apple saying our stock prices cannot raise higher than $30.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
That's the stupidest thing. And like, there's all this demand for it, so you create this shortage, which just keeps driving the price of these liquor licenses up.
Which
and then
seems
people
like why they wanna do it.
That is exactly it. And then they hide behind the whole, like New Mexico drinks a lot, which we do, but it's like, it's fucking stupid. All of this is in turn more money for our already poor state, so we could get better schools, better roads, whatever the fuck. Like it's so dumb. That's one thing. Like if I ever won the lottery, I am buying Dry Heat a liquor license. That is the first thing I'm buying. Mom, I'll get you a house later. But like Dry Heat gets a liquor license. Like it's just crazy because that's my home, man. That's my home club.
Well, because Dry Heat's a dope place, but I wonder about the amount, like, and I know they do too, and I'm sure that keeps them up at night. But like the amount of money they're missing out on.
Oh yeah, that's how all comedy clubs make their money is through their liquor sales. Mm-hmm. And so, which is, I mean, it sucks on the money that we're missing out on, but how fucking crazy is it that we have all these sold out shows, how much in popularity we have grown without any liquor sales at all. Yep. Like that is insane to me. It's really crazy because like liquor and comedy is synonymous. Mm-hmm. Like they go together all the time. That's why weed shows fucking suck. I hate weed shows. If you run a weed show, good shit. I am a sober guy. I bomb my dick off at weed shows. It's just not for me. But everybody's stoned. Whatever. That was my piece. But it's like it is so insane that we have had like so much success without any liquor sales, which is cool on that. But like if we did have that liquor license, like the amount of money like we would be getting, like it would just be amazing. We'd be able to upscale. We'd be able to do all this other stuff. But, you know, and then Sarah and Kelly are so awesome too. They're like over here drafting out like plans. What was it called? The revisions for the law. What they're like actively trying to push for like I think they called it a cabaret license, to where if you have like a performance aspect of whatever place you're in, you'll be able to have like some type of liquor. Like, I don't know. Sarah knows it so much better than I do.
She's got the right idea about possibly just getting a beer and wine license, which is like better than nothing.
Exactly.
You know, but yeah, I don't get it. How do you stay sober in this city, dude?
It's honestly
so let me like refine that question too. How do you remove comedy, remove going to open mics, right?
Yeah.
Just in your day-to-day life. Not that comedy isn't your day-to-day life, but like your life from fucking 6 o'clock in the morning to about 6 o'clock in the evening when you're not doing stand-up and you're not doing open mics. How do you stay sober in this city?
100%. It is my sister and my niece and my parents, because that was the main reason why I got sober in the first place, is because my sister was getting married and they were moving to LA. And I had always thought, because my sister was, you know, very sheltered, she's very close to us, I was like, she's never leaving Albuquerque, she's going to live here. And it made me see that, oh, life is going on, she's moving away, and I have been drunk and high this whole time, and what am I doing with life? My relationship with her isn't what I want it to be. And so I was like...
How old is your sister?
She is 3 years older than me. So I'm going to be 27. She's going to be about 30. Okay. Something like that. And so we were very close. And then, you know, I got into all the bullshit. And, you know, she did life the right way. She got very good grades. She went to college. And, you know, she was married. And I remember she had moved away. And I had decided to get sober because I wanted to fix my life and fix my... And our relationship was never bad. It just wasn't what I wanted. We used to be so close when we were little. And so I was like...
No, but the reality of the situation and in the way you're describing it, you guys... It sounds like in pivotal points in your life, you made your decisions, she made hers, and they yielded different results.
Exactly. And so, like, I saw that, and I was like, well, I'm going to get sober. And whenever any type of success comes my way, maybe I'll have a drink here and there. But then my sister told our whole family that she was pregnant. And then when I saw my niece for the first time, I was like, oh, I'm never drinking again. I'm never smoking weed again. Because when me and my sister were little, we had relatives that, you know, were alcoholics and stuff. My parents just, you know, didn't want us around that or whatever, for whatever reason. And I was like, I am never going to be that to my niece. I am always going to be that person that they can rely on. And so there are times, because it's hard, man. Ever since I started smoking weed at 13, and it just kind of went from there. I've been on drugs and alcohol a lot of my life. So like now it's hard. I've been very stressed out with school and stuff, but I'm in a group chat with them, and they're in at Disney World now, and they'll send pictures of my niece every now and then, and it's like, oh, that's why I'm doing it. I'm never going back to that. And that's kind of just the main thing is them and my relationship with them. Now, they were just here for Christmas, and it was hard even going to stand up, man, because my niece, she's like, I don't even think she's 2 yet. And, you know, we're just hanging out, and it's the life that I'd always wanted with them. And so I just don't want to do anything to fuck it up. And I know that everybody says, they're like, oh, you're supposed to get sober for yourself, not for other people. Fuck that. Like, I am not going, like, I'm doing this for them because I want them to see that they're my whole life, my parents and my sister and my siblings, they're my life. And you know, if that means I can never drink or smoke again, fuck it. I'll do stand up. That gives me the high that I need.
Well, and then, because I mean, I mostly agree with the whole like do things for yourself thing. It's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, but also, yeah, okay. So they motivated you, and they became that purpose to become sober. At the same time, because how long have you been sober now?
It'll be 3 years in April 16th.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So in the last just under 3 years, I'm sure there have been no noticeable health changes that you're like, hey, I kind of want to hold on to this.
Yeah, honestly, these last 3 years have been the best years of my entire life.
Yeah.
Like it has been amazing. I'm back in school. Like I'm doing crazy shit with stand up. I met fucking Dave Attell, which is nuts. But yeah, this has been the best 3 years. So that's another thing on top of it too. Is like I don't like sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, I would love a shot right now. But it's like that goes away. Like I don't miss it for the most part. Like even weed, I don't miss weed at all. I love the smell of weed, but I'm like I don't miss it at all. I used to do dabs all day, every day, smoke weed. Like, dude, I was pretty wild. I was burying a lot of shit that was wrong with me. But no, yeah, I don't miss it. And life is better. I don't think because I have such an addictive personality, I was like, yeah, I can't do any of that.
Yeah, well, because again, self-awareness is important.
Yeah.
Because some people can do it in moderation, right? And like, so I did the first month of January sober, and then I was reminded throughout that month why I was doing it, because there were times where I was like, because I'm a whiskey guy.
Yeah.
You've seen me at fucking open mics.
Yeah.
I like whiskey.
Whiskey's the shit,
Yeah.
man.
And
It's
so
good.
I was like, man, I kind of want to pour myself a drink right now. I kind of want an old fashioned. And then like going to Red Door the couple of times that I did, one of the bartenders, Dustin, he knows that I like old fashions. So like the first time that I came in, he was like, "You want an old fashioned?" I'm like, I'm kind of sober for the month. It's like, oh, okay, all right.
Yep.
See you in a month. But yeah, so it's like, and I don't like that thought of like, I want that.
Exactly.
Because alcohol, I mean, obviously there's like medicinal purposes for marijuana, and marijuana helps out a lot of people with a lot of different things, but specifically with alcohol does nothing for your health.
No, not at all.
It is a thing that you do because it makes you feel good temporarily, but then if you do too much of it in the morning, you feel like shit.
Exactly.
It is not good for your health. It does. No. There is not, as far as I know, there is not a single healthy thing that a drink does for you.
No, not at all.
People say, "Oh, I drink red wine for the antioxidants." No, you don't, Cheryl. No, you don't.
A bottle of wine is a lot of antioxidants.
You know what? Yeah, it's like you know what also is good for antioxidants? Blueberries, bitch.
Just eat some blueberries. That's true.
Like shut grapes, motherfucker. Anyway, so it's nothing. There's nothing about it that's good for your health.
No.
And so in my own, in that month, it's like, okay, this sobriety period is good. It's good to know that I can do it and that type of shit.
Yeah.
But then it's also like there are multiple times where, like I drink a little bit too much unintentionally, and I'm like, fuck, now I have to call an Uber. Now I have to spend more money. Fuck. Yep. And it's like you wake up in the morning and it's like, I don't want to feel this shitty. Or like when I think it was a couple mornings ago, I'm starting to smoke weed now more regularly now that I'm at it. Because I would, like, when I was in the Army, I would, like, maybe once a month. Because everyone in the fucking National Guard smokes.
Oh, yeah.
All of them do. So. All of them fucking do. But I was so paranoid because I got drug tested easily 90% of the time. Like,
really?
That I was in the National Guard. Oh, for sure. I was always on the random drug test.
Yeah,
so then,
that's weird.
Because they would always do drug tests leading up, like, every Sunday, because we'd drill once a month. Yeah. Every Sunday, they would do a drug test leading up to deployment. Like, that made sense to me. But then afterwards, when they started doing drug tests again, I was always on the list. I was paranoid. I was like, I'm not smoking. I'll do it, like, the Sunday night that I get off. It's like a thing, like, my reward for getting through drill. But, like, other than that, I'm not going to do it. I'm too paranoid.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to get into it a little more. And so I don't smoke a lot. High Desert, they hooked it up. Shout out to those guys. They gave me like a little like merch package when we signed the sponsorship contract, and I just barely changed out the cartridge on my pen.
Yeah,
and it's only like a gram.
Yeah,
so I used one cartridge over like a month and a half.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So like but it was funny. I screwed the new one on. I was trying to take a hit off of it, and it wouldn't go. And it's like, what the fuck? I took a really big hit like I didn't mean to. And I like when I felt like I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I coughed my fucking brains out.
Yep.
This was I think yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I got so fucking stoned at 9:30 in the morning. It did not wear off until like 2 p.m.
Yeah, that's shit.
And I hated that.
Yeah.
I hated that because it's like, well, now I just because I had to. It got to a point, so I got super high instantly. I got in the shower. Showering felt awesome.
Yeah.
But it felt like my mindset was like, I was like washing my hair. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to wash this wig and I'm going to take it off and put the new wig on. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
And then so I tried going about my day and I was like, I need to go back to sleep. I need to sleep this. And it still didn't work. And I was like, fuck, what is going on? So I just bring that up because as funny as that can be, it's like, I don't like feeling that way.
Exactly.
I don't like feeling that way all the time or at all, really. I don't like getting so fucking tossed that the fucking floor is spinning.
Dude.
Or
yes.
you know what I mean? Because I've had a couple, I can count on my hand how many times I've felt that way.
Yeah.
And I hate it every time. And then I hate waking up in the morning just like, fuck.
Yeah, you're groggy.
Like you just feel sick. Your head's pounding, and I hate that shit.
Dude, it's so funny because weed was the easiest thing for me to quit, but it was a weird thing. So I used to smoke so much weed that I would eat edibles and they just wouldn't work.
Edibles fucking scare me.
Dude, so I was like, okay, I want to slow down in weed. I was still drinking a shit ton, but I was like, I want to slow down on weed. So I did. I didn't smoke for like a week. And then one day I was like, I'm going to get some edibles. You know, they don't even work. Probably give me a little buzz. I got 250 milligrams of gummies and I ate all of them. And bro, I was high for 8 hours. It scared the shit out of me.
Those become almost like psychedelics because they get, I forget what the drug or what the compound is, but when you eat edibles and when it gets processed through the liver, it's 5 times as psychoactive as just smoking it.
Dude, it scared the shit out of me, and I have not smoked since that day. Yeah. So I am actually, I've been sober off of weed a little bit longer than alcohol. But yeah, I was like, ever since then, it just scared the shit out of me. And I was like, so I don't even miss it. I do, like I said, I do love the smell of weed. I don't know why.
It smells good. I think it smells really good. I think it smells good.
Yeah, I'm the same way with cigarettes too. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I love the smell. Like it just, it brings like nostalgia. I had aunties that smoked and shit.
So you don't even like tobacco, nicotine, none of that?
I left it in the car. I take Zyn.
Little upper decky schnecky, huh?
Exactly. Forgive me, Father, for I have zinned.
I've got a fucking can around here. I don't know. I've got a can
Dude, that shit is so. I actually and that's the thing is like I buy one of those like every few days. Yeah. So but it's better than smoking cigarettes because I have asthma. I shouldn't be doing that. And then on top of that, that goes back to my niece too. I don't want to be around my niece smelling like cigarettes and shit like that.
Dude, one of my grandmothers when I was a little kid, she would hold me and smoke cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just they didn't fucking know. I mean, they knew, but like
it's the 90s.
Who gave a fuck?
Yeah. You know? Dude, I know. I had an auntie that would like and like uncles and shit that would smoke inside of the house and just like we were kids there, and I'm like. Just inhaling that shit. I'm like, oh, it smells good.
God, you're inhaling the cigarette smoke on the weekends with the family. Then you go to school when they had those unregulated Sharpie markers and the dry erase.
Dog,
and you're just like, you shake it up a little bit, pop the cap.
Dude, you know what I used to do? Damn, you just unlocked a memory. I used to get tissue paper and I would tear pieces off of it and soak it in the ink and then just smell that tissue paper. Bro, goddamn. I forgot I used to do that. Holy shit. Yeah. God damn, I was destined to be an addict. Thank God I'm fucking clean, dude. I was like fucking 10 years old just huffing markers. That's wild shit.
Well, and I think, this conversation is a sign of your sobriety because you can openly talk about it without because I'd imagine at this point you'd have self-regulators where it's like, okay, I cannot perform these actions because it's going to lead me to an undesired result. So
definitely
I stay away from those.
Yeah.
But you can talk about this shit just fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually enjoy it. It gives me a lot of closure because it reminds me of how dumb I was. Like that painkiller drug bust joke is it's so funny, but it's like, oh, like I used to do painkillers all the time. Like, look at where I'm at now. Like it's so
you're on the other end of it.
Exactly. Yes. And because you are when you're so deep into addiction, you're just like, oh, like you don't want to be in that sometimes. Like sometimes it feels good. Getting fucked up feels awesome sometimes. But it's like when you're deep into it, you're like, fuck, dude, I don't want to feel like I have to do this. Like just the desperate. That's why I have a soft spot for anybody who like deals with addiction because it sucks, man. Like, because there's a lot of times where you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? And that's why like sometimes I have imposter syndrome with that too. Cause it's like, if things didn't play out in my life the way they did, I would still be doing that. If my sister was still living here and like, I just didn't care, like, I don't know what I would be doing right now, but it's like, and that's, I've never told my sister this, but it's like she essentially saved my life, her and my niece. I don't know where I would be if they weren't living life the way they were. Like I'd probably I wouldn't be doing stand up. I wouldn't know you because, they really fixed my life. And
so how do you maintain sobriety? Because again, stand up is such an important part of your life and your daily basis, right?
Yeah.
But all the open mics are at bars.
Yeah.
I mean, besides, probably not really a bar, but they serve booze.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's a pizzeria.
That's
but
true.
like, where do you, or not where, but like, how do you find yourself staying sober when one of the biggest parts of your life takes place where everybody is drinking?
Honestly, it's the amount I've just improved from when I started. Well, I've never done stand-up intoxicated, but just being sober from when I started to where I am now, just that progress is like, oh, you're doing something right. Don't fuck it up with alcohol or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if I bomb too, it's just like, okay, that's another subject. But I never think about drinking because I've gotten to where I'm at with stand-up because of sobriety. Maybe not all because of that, but it's definitely a big part of it.
That's a very good point. Do you feel like because of how ingrained you are in the community, how many people know you, how many people know that you are sober?
Yeah.
Do you think there's also an added like accountability, social pressure where it's like, oh, if they catch me drinking, they know something's up?
Yeah, that is definitely a part of it. I remember for Tripp's wedding, I didn't drink any water like that day. So I was going there because usually I wake up, I try to drink as much water as possible just because it's good for you and stuff. And so I was on my way to Tripp's wedding, and I stopped at a gas station. I got a bottle of Pedialyte because it's got electrolytes. I didn't drink a lot of water. I get there, and everybody's like, "Bro, did you relapse?" I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Pedialyte, that's for hangovers." I was like, "I like Pedialyte, dude. Like, just let me drink." So yeah, they'll know.
It's like, listen, you fucking degenerates. The reason Pedialyte's invented is to make your life better from where it already is. It's not to bring you back to normal, you
Dude,
fucks.
for real. I missed my water quota, man. Like, let me drink Pedialyte. Shit, man. But like, and that's the thing is like, I don't have too many triggers. One trigger I do have, but it's kind of went away. I think it was just because like when my sister had her wedding, I was sober. And weddings was a huge trigger for me because I saw my dad and my parents don't drink. Like they actually hardly ever drink. But it's my sister's wedding. They're getting tipsy. They're having a good time. My sister's having a good time. And everybody around me is drinking. And I remember at my sister's wedding, I was sitting at a table by myself. And I caught myself just staring at a wine glass.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, I had to take a lap. And so that's why I was like, I mean, I love Tripp and Anna. And so I wanted to be at their wedding. But I was a little bit nervous because I know how I am. And I was like, I don't know. But then I'm there like not 90. Like a big part of the comedy, the comedy scene here is sober. So I was there with Tyler. I was there. Josh doesn't drink. So I was just having a good time with the homies. And so that was... on top of it being fun, it was a very fun wedding. But I was just like, oh shit, like this might not be a trigger for me anymore. And granted, I do see people getting fucked up, and I'm like, oh, that does look kind of fun. But for the most part, I keep those at bay. Even when like I'm talking to a girl, I don't expect the women I talk to be 100% sober. That was something that I needed. But here's the thing. This is okay, that's okay. No, I'm
again, this level of self-awareness.
Yeah, no, honestly, no. When it comes to like with women, I'm the opposite of a comedy club. If we're dating and we're out, you have a 2-drink maximum. If you go over those 2 drinks, I'm going home because I don't. It's just weird to me, like just me being sober. I'll take you to a bar. Let's have drinks. If you're drinking 3 drinks, I'm out. Like I don't expect people to be sober, but I also don't want to be a creep, because it's just weird.
No. I see exactly what you're saying. And first of all, it's good for you for setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Secondly, one of the best ways for me, if I'm in a period where I want to be sober for a while or I just don't want to drink that night, the number one deterrent to keep me sober is being around drunk people.
Yeah, yes.
Because it is like, oh, okay, is that how I... Yeah. Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
good.
So it's like, I don't like being sober around a bunch. Like, it's one thing because, like, from what I've seen anyway, people don't get too smashed at open mics. It's just not a thing, right? It's not a thing to get like overly fucking hammered.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I'm out somewhere and there's a bunch of drunk people around, I'll either join the party or split. And then 9 times out of 10, because of my wallet, I split.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what am I fucking doing here? Whatever,
Dude,
man.
Exactly. And that was funny. It was like This was because I don't really talk to like my old friends much. I talked to one of them, my buddy who's out in Phoenix. I talked to him a lot. But my old friends, because we all just used to, party and shit together. But I remember it was when I first started stand-up, I had met up with them downtown once. And they're like, let's go to Cake. And I was sober. And I walked into Cake. It's a nightclub. And I was like, how the fuck do people like being in here? I was like, everybody's fucked up. It's gross. It's sweaty. The music is loud. I felt like Larry David. Like, I was just complaining the whole time. And I was like, oh, this used to be my life. I used to live to do shit like this. And it's just, I don't know, man. You get older and shit changes.
Well, but for some people, it doesn't.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's kind of just their lifestyle where they look forward to, they do their 9 to 5, they get their money, however much they're happy with, if they are happy with it. And then they look forward to the weekend. We're on Friday and Saturday nights, and now the weekend's kind of extended to like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Where they go out and they get dressed and however they want to dress, and they go and they meet people, and they will go and get fucked up and get, and get weird about things. And that's just, they live for that, like the perceived spotlight of being at a nightclub. And then I'd imagine, I've never been a part of that lifestyle because I was living in Mexico my whole life.
Yeah.
Transplant that to somewhere like LA, New York, LA, New York, and like Vegas, where it's like, oh, what if you can get to the exclusive clubs? Oh, what if you get the exclusive section with the bottle service, and it becomes like a status thing, where it's like not only are you cool enough to get in, or you're connected enough to get in, now you have the money to pay for all the expensive nonsense.
Dude,
it's not the fact you're getting bottle service; it's the fact that you can spend the money on bottle service, have these fucking people dance around like idiots with sparklers.
Exactly. It's like it's all it is just a status thing.
Yeah.
You go home the next day, you have a hangover, you're depressed. Like, it's like, that's not life, man. It's fucking, I mean, if you do that, I mean, like, power to you if you're happy.
No, I gotta be honest, that's a waste of fucking time. No.
I can't imagine you're happy in that situation.
I gotta be honest. Like, if that's like the way you celebrate big things in your life, sure. But if it's like a weekend thing, like a regular basis, just going out to a club, getting fucked up and whatever, like I can't, again, just breaking it down black and white, I can't see, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy going to like Anodyne, right? And like shooting pool and shit like that. I enjoy doing that. Or I enjoy going to Launchpad or Inside Out or like Sunshine, seeing shows and shit like that. But just going somewhere just to drink, just to get fucked up around a bunch of other fucked up people, and then doing that on a regular basis, removing money out of it, I just can't see how that adds to your life.
No.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's
like, I do see that as a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like, we're talking about this now, and I'm trying to think of like what I did to celebrate like my last big thing. So like my last big thing was probably like, I think it was Tape Jake at Dry Heat, where like I did a headlining set. They had taped me on the wall. It was a whole thing. It was a whole show kind of centered around me at Dry Heat. It sold out. And I remember to celebrate that, I was like, I'm going to buy me teriyaki chicken bowl today. And I felt happy as shit. I didn't need to go out to like a strip club or like a Cake and just get bottle service and show everybody that, oh, I'm doing this. I celebrated by myself, got teriyaki chicken bowl.
And that probably meant more to you.
It meant so much to me. But then there's also that thing. It's like, is this the way I celebrate?
Who gives a fuck? Did you have fun?
I had a blast. It was, and that's the thing too, is it's like, I'm doing so much in life that I don't need to do things to where I'm like, I'm like, people like, look at me, look at what I'm doing, which I was saying that and I was like, that's exactly what stand-up is.
Well, but stand-up is inherently a very self-centered art, but you're still having accomplishments in that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And there's those accomplishments. I'm not just doing it for nothing. Like, I have a goal. I have things that I want to do. And people just don't understand that because stand-up is very just not conventional to the way that people think about life.
Well, you can't become the best partier.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a career path.
Dude, yeah, look at what Steve-O tried and it didn't work out too well. He's sober now.
Well, I mean, there's influencers, but that's a whole different ballpark I know nothing about. But like just becoming the best club goer. You know what I mean? That's
Jersey Shore.
Yeah, that's not a lifestyle.
It's not.
And it's not conducive to anything productive.
It's really not. And I don't know, I just feel like because I didn't used to go to clubs a lot. I would drink by myself a lot. But it's like even though it feels good to get fucked up, it's like, oh yeah, that does nothing for me in the big scheme of things. It actually fucks your life up. Yep. And like, just like I said, these past 3 years have just been insane, and that's why I'm like, everything I'm doing, I'm doing good. Like the way I celebrate, the way everything is all good, and that's the way I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep life going this way because I don't want to be that guy in cake or anything. Like I look forward to Friday and Saturday, just get up and doing shit. Even like at night doing the mics and stuff. That's the main thing I look forward to outside of like family stuff and everything. But yeah, that's enough for me. It really is.
Well, I think it's a good way to end this podcast, dude.
Hell yeah.
This has been awesome.
Dude, thank you for having me. This was a great chat.
Dude, thank you for coming. This has been I've been really looking forward to this. So thank you for coming.
Same, man.
So this is going to come out. Let me look at the actual date.
Cool.
This is going to come out on, because I'm doing the live one there. So this is going to come out a week from now. So on the 26th. What have you got going on past the 26th?
26th, I don't
Do you have anything to promote?
Let me see. That's actually a good question. Oh, the 26th of February?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, definitely go see me. I'm going to be opening for Chris Estrada at Quesada's Comedy Club. It'll be the 1st and 2nd of March. There's a 7:30 and a 9:30 show. Go to my Instagram, Jake Otero Comedy, and click on the link. I have all the ticket links there. And then I'm pretty much at Dry Heat Comedy Club every weekend. Catch me there. Catch all the regulars and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Fuck yeah. Well, this has been awesome, dude. Thank you very much.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.